we have very strong data processing engine. And the data processing engine works in the way that we take the data, we process the data quality checks in our engine, and we return the results through the catalog. We also have something we call push down, and we had this big data processing already for several years, so we can natively run the jobs on the Hadoop and Spark. Now we are introducing new functionality and partnership with Snowflake. So Snowflake takes a lot of traction. A lot of people is using Snowflake for all the critical data. And this allows us actually to use the state-of-the-art technology Snowflake launched, and they call it Snowpark, to actually execute our jobs natively on Snowflake. So we don't need to actually move the data to the data processing engine on our side. At the same time, we can use all the logic and all the business rules which you have seen in the web UI, so we can actually push down not like the simple SQL queries, but it really executes our code on the Snowflake. And I'll invite Lenka, our product manager for data quality, to tell you a bit more about it, how it works. So Lenka.
And this is right. So in version 14, we are introducing a completely new way how to process data directly on Snowflake, which brings all the Atacama data quality functionalities, including rule evaluation, data quality monitoring, profiling, etc., closer to the users of Snowflake. So how does it actually work? The ability to process data from Snowflake is not exactly new for us. We were always able to take whatever we want to do, like evaluate the phone number quality on the table with Atacama headcount, take this configuration, digest it by our Atacama data processing engine, and this data processing engine would basically request the data from Snowflake, download it to the engine, and process whatever we need there, provide it to the users. And don't get me wrong, this engine and this way of processing data is really efficient. We are really proud of having it fine-tuned to provide the best possible experience and make this really fast. But if we are talking specifically about the Snowflake, which is actually a cloud database, which is famous for having like really large data inside its tables and having a lot of tables that are changing in time, it means that those processing are frequent and, let's say, with a high load, and that could actually cost some precious time. So instead of downloading all the data that we need to process from Snowflake to our engine, we are taking all the Atacama configuration and utilizing, as Martin already mentioned, the Snowflake Snowpark library. So we are translating the configuration to actually Snowflake SQL, processing everything directly on Snowflake. So let's take a look how it actually works. Well, from user perspective, not much changed, because if I take a look on connection of my Snowflake database that we are using for this Atacama headcount, the only change is that when we are actually connecting to this Snowflake, we have one tiny new checkbox here that we can check, push down processing enabled. And if we do this, that means that from now on, every user of Atacama One platform will be directly utilizing this push down functionality, unless they opt out. So specifically on the Atacama headcount table that Lukáš was showing, if we would go to the tab for data quality, here we already have the new term that was assigned by Lukáš, and now we would like to actually evaluate some rules that were already assigned to this table, plus this new rule, new evaluation that comes together with international phones. If my rules were simple enough, meaning if I would be just comparing one value to another, I could go by myself to go directly to Snowflake and actually write the SQL select there, right? But if we are talking about more complicated rules, like in case of first data, where I need to actually do some parsing, I need to actually check if my data is present in some reference data, or in case of the email validation, when I need to do some parsing, look on the structure, look if really it corresponds to all the requirements I have on emails, then it's complicated. And I wouldn't be able to do this. So that's where I can take leverage of Atacama, do everything, configure everything in the business-friendly environment that Atacama One offers. And if I then simply click on evaluate, the processing starts on Snowflake. So let's take a look actually. I can switch to my Snowflake instance where I'm logged in and I see some activity here. If I refresh this, hopefully we should see that some new processings are actually happening. And we are running a new job. And if we actually take a look on how those 4 rules are being evaluated, it's not exactly some simple SQL that I would be able to write by myself. We are using it, as I mentioned, quite a lot of different reference data sets. We are actually using some specific functions that are not available on Snowflake as native functions, but are deployed by Atacama as so-called user-defined functions, so I'm utilizing that. And I am for sure also storing some data in some temporary tables managed by Snowpark, so it's quite complicated. Fortunately, as a user, I don't really have to take care about that. For me, it's only to wait a moment and got my result in the table and see what's the quality of the phones. Of course, this ad hoc data quality evaluation or running the data quality evaluation is only one of the options that we can actually process directly in the Snowflake. So it's not just data quality evaluation, but it's the profiling, the functionality that gives you actually insight into what is in the data, what are all the patterns, what are all the statistical analytics, etc. Also, very useful is the 3rd case, which is utilizing this for data quality monitoring projects. Those are configurations where we are not only interested in the individual results, hopefully we will see, not only the individual results, but where we can also configure some of the more advanced reports, including looking, well, of course the demo is not working right now, but this is exactly the place where you could actually arrange the individual rules into some aggregations, compute the aggregations of the rules, look on the samples that are invalid, and actually track the quality back to, let's say, the origin of the problem, and etc. So, unfortunately, let me try to refresh this once more, if you are lucky. Yeah, this is better. This is better. So we have still here my 4 rules, but I'm also setting some of those filters, roll-ups, meaning that I would like to see aggregated results per our office and displayed in an aggregated form in more advanced report. So yeah, so this is it. To summarize, what we are bringing you in version 14 is for you if you are already using Snowflake or are you thinking about Snowflake. We are bringing you the option to bring the data quality evaluation, the insight into data and its quality to your users in a really efficient format and in really well-performing way. If you would like to learn more, later today I'm actually having a deep dive session where I will be showing more about both the data quality options in Atacama and also looking a little bit under the hood of the processing itself, how this is being done and how everything works. So that's it.
Thank you, Martina.